we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you all for coming out. We were, when they selected me to do the panel, they had a lot of interest on the pinball side, but this is obviously a big expo for everything, so we weren't sure what kind of turnout it was. So I'm glad that we have some people here, and I'll be even gladder in the future if one or two or several of you end up opening up a pinball collective. So I'm Chad Hastings. I am the president of the Delaware Pinball Collective. This is my wife over here, Marianne Hastings. And so this is our first trip to the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. So a quick update to get you to the Delaware Pinball Collective story. I'll give you a couple stats of where we're at, and then I'm going to go over a few key items to what we think is the longevity to keeping a collective open, etc. How the whole thing came about is in Delaware. We first got into pinball, our first machine in 2015. We played our first tournament at the Allentown Expo in 2016. Didn't think nothing of it. We left. We played another tournament in October of 2016. Thought it was pretty cool. Didn't think nothing of it. And then 2017 came around and we were like, let's get some pinball started in Delaware. And the problem is, there's at that time, and pretty much still is, there's no public places in Delaware to play except the beach that's open during the summer at the beach arcades. There's no prior to us, there's nowhere you could have went except a few restaurants that had one machine in there that obviously wasn't kept up, and the flippers didn't work and everything like that. So anyhow, 2017, we ran our first tournament out of I met a guy online from Delaware. He had 20 machines in his basement, said, I'm not doing anything. You do it all, but you can use my basement and my games. So I ran the first tournament. We had 48 people sign up. 38 ended up showing up. They came from everywhere. Delaware, of course, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, PA, DC, Baltimore, all for this first event in Delaware. And it was overwhelming. It was a huge success. So we ran our second tournament in December of 2017. We had 49 people register. We had a slight snowstorm the day before, so we only had 39 end up showing up. But just after those two events, you could already see that we had something going in Delaware just based off of those two events and pulling all these people from all over the different states. So in 2018 came around, we now had finally got up to like 10 pinball machines, and then we met another guy in Delaware that had 40 some at his house. So he was like, you can use my house for tournaments, we'll use the other guy's house, and then when it's time to go to your house, we'll bring games to you. So we started the Delaware Tour Championship, which was 6 tournaments, 2 at each house. And every tournament was selling out like in 5 minutes with a 15-person wait list. The sellout was 48 people we would put in a basement. So we did that all of 2018, all of 2019, and it was like, look, we were turning people away constantly. We got to go do something bigger. So the 3 original people that had the homes, along with 2 other people, joined in, and we started looking, and we opened up the collective in 2022 was our first day officially to the public. So we are in an industrial park. We didn't have a lot of options in Delaware. So everything that we wanted, like if we had idea space, it was office space where we had 2 parking spots and that was it. Or we had something that was like 5,000 square feet but 1 bathroom, and we knew that wasn't going to work. So, ultimately we came down to, we found an industrial park that's nowhere off, it's off the main road. We're secluded. The landlord, you can't have any signage on the building, so it's just a brick building. And it's on the 2nd floor, unfortunately. But again, we had very limited options. This was like our 3rd option. Our first 2 kind of fell through, so we had to come back to this one to open up. But this is the spot right here, and that's just an overview shot of it. Our original blueprint that we have of the whole collective right here. When you come in these doors here, this is all games around the wall. We got games in the middle, couches set up, bar tables, cocktail tables here. We built a custom bar we had a whole bunch of people donate play fields that were bad, beat up, cut them all up into puzzles, pieced it all together, put a liqueur over top of it, and that's our bar top. And then we got more pinball space back here, and then all this back here we kept for repair room, which is full. And then we also got an additional 1,200 square feet that is in a warehouse that's not really AC or nothing. So we just have like overflow games down there, etc. Here's just a few photos of it. This is when you first come in. We got a registration desk here, and our big sign, that's the 3D sign that someone made. This is looking at it from the back. You're looking at some of the games there in the bar on the right. Give us another few shots there of the insides of it. Centrally located where we're at, we're 30 minutes from Philly, 2.5 hours from New York, 75 minutes from Baltimore. I know some of the other places throughout the United States don't have that luxury, that how we are located, but that was a key factor in opening up the collective was the location. So who we are, we're made up of a board of directors. We have 5 members. As I said, I'm Chad Hastings, the president. We got Bill Richardson, Paul Pratzner, Mike Veith, and Greg Postal. Mike Veith is running around here somewhere. I thought he was going to pop in. In addition to the board members, we have 14 volunteers. As I get down here at the bottom here, we are a nonprofit 501c7 social club. So volunteers is critical. No one's getting paid, and so the more volunteers, if you go on a nonprofit route, the better. We're located in northern Delaware, and we're currently open 5 days a week, plus we have bonus hours all the time where our members will say, hey, I'm going to open up Monday night from 5 to 10 because I'm free. And then we just send a blast out to all of our members. Why open up a collective? Collective brings people together for fun, fellowship. As most of you all know, if you're into the pinball hobby, it's fantastic. It's a great way to meet new friends. You can use it as a means to pool resources, such as the games, donation, and equipment when you're trying to put a collective together. Your area doesn't have any good public pinball locations, which is what our biggest deficit was in Delaware. We had none. Additionally, most location pinball is horrible because the operators don't keep the pinball machines fully functional. At least up our area, most of the pinball machines that are on location are done by vendors that own routes and have arcades and all that stuff, and they just dump them, collect money every week, and that's it. The games are always broken. They stay broken for 6 months at a time. That's not obviously the case for every pinball place. There's obviously lots of great pinball bars out there that have people that are dedicated to keeping those machines up and running. You can use your facility as an educational resource. We're partnered with the University of Delaware, and we have interns come in. They are working with one of our volunteers who does homebrew gaming. And so they're doing audio, video, coding, and all that from the college level, and they come to our place for that. A quick overview of the collective. We are a members-only keycard access social club. If you've ever been to an Elks Lodge, a Moose Lodge, or anything like that, that's how we are. The doors are locked. You have to have a key card to get in. Everything is monitored. And if you bring a guest with you, it has to all be recorded on paper for every person walking through that door. That's because of the nonprofit 501c7 social club we are. If the IRS ever checks us or anything, they're going to audit who the people are coming through that door, is what they want to see. So we are members only. Our building is 3,200 square feet. We currently have 60 plus pinball machines on the floor. That's not counting the downstairs warehouse, which has like 14 games down there. We have a dedicated repair room. Our rates are $45 a month for a single membership, or $495 yearly. And for a family is $60 a month or $600 yearly. We don't advertise it, but we do offer what's called a single day auxiliary membership. And that's for people that are coming in that just want to, play a day, or they're traveling and something like that. And that's $25 all day per person that you're there. Again, the reason we don't advertise is because we survive off of recurring revenue and like that. So we don't just want to have it advertised that come on in for $25. We have so many people that just sign up to be members and they never even walked foot in the building yet. So that just helps keep that balance there, that we don't just have a whole people walking in off the street and coming in. We run weekly leagues, we run monthly tournaments, and we also do pinball clinics once every 2 or 3 months. The pinball clinics, we do various ones. Most of them we have the amazing amount of members that we have. more and more obviously are getting into competitive pinball, and when they weren't when they first joined. So we have clinics on, just the basics of pinball, dead bouncing and nudging and things like that. And we get 20 to 30 people show up for them. So it's pretty powerful, the clinics. And then we're starting to do some repair clinics as well, because we've sold so many more people now bought pinball machines. They want to learn what are the basics, what do I need to do to repair these things. Essentials to opening up a collective, part 1. Anyone that wants this slideshow for these notes, you can take pictures. Just give me your name or your email. I'll send you the slideshow. There's nothing in here that you can't have, okay? Essentials, you need space. You're always going to need more than you think. When we first started looking, we were looking at 1,600 square feet, which was a little smaller than this. It was going to give us about 30 games, 15 on each side with 1 bathroom. It wouldn't have worked. We're at 3,200 square foot, and we're close to, we need more room, but since we're on the 2nd floor, we're not relocating anytime soon. So just make sure you have enough space. Location obviously is key. We're in northern Delaware. We actually live in central Delaware. We're over an hour away ourselves from the collective. But if I wanted to be greedy and open it up in my backyard, it wouldn't have survived. We would not have gotten all the people to drive from Philly and Jersey and PA. They're not going to come an hour south in Delaware to enjoy it. When they're only driving 30 minutes, we had to sacrifice by driving north an hour away to make this happen. Another part, plenty of quality pinball machines from your members. All of our games, the collective doesn't own anything. Every game in there, all 80 games, are donated by our members. And it's key to have quality. So when people want to donate a game, that's the first thing. We don't want beater games and things like that, because you're going to be repairing them constantly, and plus just they're not as pleasing to look at in our collection. So the better your machine that you have, it's going to have longer longevity in there, and you're not going to have as much repairs to do. So what does a member get when they donate a game? They really get nothing. And not all collectives do it the way we do it, but they don't get a free month. They don't get their name on the wall. They don't get anything but a big thank you from the board, and obviously a big thank you from the members. And it's just, again, they're just helping our community out by donating their game in there. What we do is we cover all repairs for all the games that are in there, up to $50. So we're doing all the general maintenance, replacing rubbers, flipper rebuilds, parts break, things like that. If it's something big, over $50, then we split it with the member 50-50. So if for some reason a board was to burn up and you need to buy a new board for $200, we're going to pitch in 100, and they're going to pitch in 100 to get it up and running. In the 4 years that we've been open, we've had very few repairs over $50. Everything is just the basic stuff of keeping your pinball machines going. Register your name and logo. Also, lots of electrical outlets. Like this, obviously right here, there's nowhere near enough electrical outlets. We have, thankfully, one of our board members is an electrician, not me, and he dropped electric everywhere in the building. And so we were able to do that at cost, which was very helpful, but you cannot have enough electrical outlets. And just to add on to that, I talked to another place that was not a collective really, but opened up a pinball place. And when they opened up, they had just a few amount of outlets, and they used surge strips. Well, they ended up failing their county code, or their local code or whatever, and they got shut down. And they had to drop electric all the way out through the building for all these pinball machines. So that's set them back, downtime, extra expense they weren't looking for. So check your P's and Q's, check all your local stuff, what you need, but you definitely need lots of electrical outlets. Again, even if you don't go the non-profit route and you are a business opportunity, you're going to need help. So, whether you're paying these people or you can find volunteers to help cover shifts, there's a lot of time spent at the collective. The more volunteers, the better. That we have the board members and the volunteers, we have 19 total people, and we still need like 3 or 4 more people, because we still run into situations every now and then where someone will say, hey, I can't make it Tuesday. And we're scrambling, we got 18 other people, but most of those people already have other things planned. So we get, we haven't run into an issue, but we still need like 3 or 4 more that can lock in some shifts. Form an LLC, and then develop club rules and guidelines for your establishment. Essentials Part 2. You need insurance to cover all the games, especially fire flood insurance. We pay about $2,000 a year. I think it's $1 million policy. One thing people don't think about is if you're in like a strip mall. Imagine this is a strip mall because there is a banquet hall right here and a banquet hall right here. This business next to you has a leak in their ceiling that leaks over in your space and ruins your games. If you don't have insurance, they're not covering it for you, okay? So you just got to think all that through. Our policy covers full coverage on the games that we have there, so we get full replacement on those games if something were to happen. We haven't had anything happen, so you obviously just have to have something back up. We have a key fob system. Wasn't much to put in, but highly recommended. The key fob is obviously electronic. Everything that goes through it is computer log, so we know who's coming and who's going, and things like that. I suggest a simple point of sale system. If you're trying to track your items of whatever you're selling and things like that. We don't. Well, I said we have a bar. We don't sell alcohol. We don't have a liquor license, but we sell sodas and energy drinks and bottled water and swag merchandise. So it's good to have to keep track of things so you can pull reports and stuff from there. Your length of the lease. This was the biggest stickler for us when we were trying to find a place. Again, I don't know what you all have down here, but up in Delaware, everybody wanted a minimum 5-year lease. And we're like, we can't commit to 5 years. We don't know if the thing is going to last a year. So everyone, they wouldn't cut us any breaks. So this is part of the reason why we end up on the second floor in industrial park, is this landlord was willing to give us a 2-year minimum with a +1 option across 5 years with slight increases. So we went with that, and we're good. Everything's moving forward. You're going to see some numbers here in a minute, but don't bite off more than you can chew. I would suggest take baby steps and go from there. Encourage feedback. Conduct some surveys after we were open 5 or 6 months. Send out some surveys to all of our members. What do you need? What do you want more of? When we first opened, we didn't have Friday nights open, and that was the #1 request. Give us Friday nights. Well, we needed volunteers because we couldn't, the board members, we all had full-time jobs, so we couldn't live there because we have, the wives and all that to take care of, and it was like we had to have a fine balance. But I encourage you to do the feedback, conduct some surveys, and again, anytime you do a feedback or survey, you're never going to please everybody. These people want Friday morning, these want Friday night. You just got to see what is popular and go with your gut decision. Software to track your game repairs and things like that. There's a free software out there called Trello. It is very intuitive, very easy to use. All we do is load it up on the computer. Any of our volunteers has a list of all the games. You just click on the game and type in the issue and hit save. And now when someone comes in that can do repairs, there's flags on the game. So all the games are green. Anything that's red needs to repair. So we click on it, and it'll sit there, and it'll tell you left flipper is not working at all. And we know what to do. The good thing about the software is now if we have to go back to that game 3 months from now and repair, we got all the notes that are there. It's all documented. Because when you fix it, you also document what you did in case the next person that goes to fix it. Obviously, a simple flipper repair isn't, not that big of a deal, but if you're trying to chase down a problem that the game keeps resetting and you end up repinning pin number 5, it would be good that that's detailed for you. So find some kind of software. Trello is free. It works for us. You can also do it on mobile and all that, so it's very helpful. Bathrooms have at least 2 at minimum. We host tournaments and stuff. We get up to 80 to 100 people. 2 is capped. It's pretty, with two bathrooms, we're at max capacity right there with that. So don't get pigeonholed down to 1 bathroom and you're having 50, 60, 70 people in there. It's not going to work out. Another essential is host a maintenance day every 3 months. We get 20 members that want to come help. Clean games, change rubbers. They don't know what they're doing, but they want to help us do that. And it's a huge help when we announce it. We're going to provide pizza and drinks. Come on out. And we get 20 people and attack 60 games, pull the glass off, we clean them, we wax them, we replace rubbers, and we get through it. But you need to keep the maintenance up on them every few months And it's easy if you can organize a day to get help so you're not trying to do it yourself. Another essential, Kickstarter versus self-funded. Several of the collectives that have opened up have done Kickstarters. We contemplated it when we opened ours up, and we decided to go self-funding. And what that meant was the 5 of us put money up front, and then we opened up, and then if we ever got into a position, we all knew that we could potentially never get that money back, and we would be okay with it. But once we got past all the hurdles and repairs and things like that, we could eventually get that money back. We haven't got it back yet. We're very close. The first 2 years, we were not in the plus. We were just broke even from a nonprofit perspective, but we are close to being able to recoup that money that we put up front. Keys to longevity. Gain enough memberships to cover all your monthly fixed costs. That is key. And this is what's taken us so long. While we do tournaments and things like that to bring in extra revenue, having recurring memberships or whatever model you go with that covers all your fixed costs is the big thing. I didn't have this number on here, but to put it in perspective, we have 3,200 square feet. That building in Delaware, our lease each month is $5,000. It's, again, I don't know what it compares to here. I know other places. We talked to another collective down in Virginia. They have like a 1,800 square foot place. I think they're all in is like $1,600 a month. It's a huge difference. So, make sure you can cover it. When we opened up, here's our membership numbers. 2022, January 1st was our grand opening. We had 60 members sign up before we ever opened the doors. So that was like the people were, they were 6 months in advance. They knew we had the spot, we were outfitting and things like that, but the people were hungry. So 60 members in 22, 23, we went to 82 members, as you can see, a 37% increase. 24, 98 members, another 20% increase. January 1st, 25, 118 members, another 20% increase. And as of yesterday, we're up to 142 active memberships. These are memberships, not total number of people. Our membership, we have 4 people or 5 people in the family. Okay, but we have 1 membership that covers us. So 142 active memberships, and we rarely have 30 people in the building at one time, ever, unless it's a tournament. I don't know why, but that's where our memberships are. Maintain a decent spare parts inventory, and I mean you need to put some money out to have plenty of spare rubbers of all kinds of rubbers that replace the machine rubbers and flipper rubbers, balls, anything to do flipper rebuilds for all the different era of games that you have, since so many ones different, they vary. And then have some universal boards in place. That way, if a game goes down and it's a board, you can pop in a universal board. But the more parts you have on hand, the easier it is to get these games back up and running. Another key to longevity: rotate your games frequently, keep the lineup fresh. The 60 we have on the floor, we have about 10 in the repair room. When we get one that's repaired, we pull it out and pull one off the floor. We pull another one out. But our members, it seems like every 3 weeks, a member comes to us and says, "Hey, I got a game we want to bring to you." Just Thursday, one of them came to us and said, "Hey, I want to drop my Labyrinth off. Come on, bring it in." It's been great. Our members have supplied all the new sterns and everyone that comes out. Again, the collective doesn't own anything. It's all member owned. And a large variety of eras, depending on your space. The more games you have from the 60s and 70s all the way up. I know some of the popular barcades now are strictly sterns, and it makes sense. They're going to make their money and things like that, but that's not really a collective. Have a large variety of games, because we actually have people that come in and say, "I hate these old games." Now they're playing in a league, and now they've been there for 6 months, and now they come to me and be like, "You know what? I kind of like these old games now." So it's kind of funny to see people change their ways. Keys to longevity continued. Hold raffles and fundraisers. As a nonprofit, we can do that. Check your local state laws and see what you're allowed to do. We raffle off 1, if not 2 pinball machines every year. So we sell the raffle tickets, and then we randomly draw it to help us make money. We promote heavily social media. Use it. People forget about Reddit. We've probably gained about 20 memberships from Reddit. I know it's out there, like in this space, people sometimes think it's weird, Reddit, but put your stuff out there, you're going to get people. Become a Stern Army location, critical, because that then is going to hit the app and people are going to see it on their Insider Connected in more ways that they can find you. And then plus you're going to get free swag from Stern to help you promote events and all that. And people love swag. Rent out your space for private events. That's key to, again, just more revenue that can come in. We only do it during off hours. So we don't let anyone rent our space during our member time. So for example, we're open 12 to 6 on Saturday and Sunday. You can't rent it. I don't care how much you pay. We can't close those doors to 140 members for your little private party. So you can rent it before 12, you can rent it after 6, but you can't rent it between 12 and 6. If you do private parties, when you create your agreement with those people, make sure you put in there, they cannot have no confetti and no sprinkles, okay? Our very first party, we missed that, and we had confetti everywhere, and it took us forever to vacuum up, okay? So, key to that. Sell a wide assortment of merchandise and swag. Everyone loves to, get shirts and hoodies and hats and things like that, all different colors, so you build that up for you. And then one thing that we started doing recently is donate to local events. We have members that are part of like the university's Chamber of Commerce or something, or this or that. Donate like a $25 pass or something that they can do as a silent auction or a giveaway, and help, again, try to gain some more memberships. So 501c7. Why a 501c7 organization? Again, the 7 means we're a social club. The most popular one is the 501c3, which is a charitable organization. We chose nonprofit social club because when we opened this up, no one had any intention of opening up to generate revenue. It was strictly to get a space to bring all these people together to get them out of our basement. So that was the whole start of it. Donations to a 501c7 cannot be written off. 501c3 they can, but not a 7. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. We have had people that want to just donate money that don't. And hey, can I write it off? You cannot. However, the only real difference in going to the C3, which is the charitable organization, allows the tax write-off. It doesn't bring in a little bit more paperwork that you have to do. And we're actually considering going to a 501c3 next year. If we get another volunteer on board that can help us do that paperwork. Again, we all have full-time jobs and no one wants the burden of having to file the paperwork every year. So we are close to possibly switching to that. We've had a few local businesses that wanted to donate like $10,000 to us, but they can't because they want to write it off, and so we don't get that money. So that was the overview, who we are, where we are, the keys to the longevity. Now it's your turn. Questions, and you can also, that's the one screenshot you want. So you can email, text, or call me anytime. If you want a copy of this slideshow, I will get it to you. Yes?
Are the games that are donated forever, or are they loans?
Good, yep, so they're loaned. They're not donated forever. That's the terminology we use. The only thing we ask the members is like, look, if you're planning to put this on the market and you're going to sell it next week, we don't want to go through the hassle of getting it upstairs, set it up, and you sell it in a week. So if you're going to bring it, try to have it on the floor for a couple months at least. But no, there's no handcuffs. It's not like if something was to come up and they're like, I need to pull it out because I need to sell games I need money home. Yeah, they can come get it or whatever. But there's no timetable to anything. Most of the games are there and have been there for many, many, many months. And then it gets to the point now, people bring us games, it's like, what do you want to take out? And everything is like, well, not that one, not that one. Yeah. And by the time you look, you've already gone around 58 times and say, not that one, so what are you taking out, So we just try to slide them to the back. It's like, look, we're going to let this one go rest for a while, enjoy this one for a little bit, and you'll get that game back in a few months. Don't worry.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Is there any downside to the C versus the F, or the 7, to go to a C3?
No, the only difference is really there's a tax write-off versus charitable versus not. We're a social club. You may have different guidelines down here, but that's really the big thing.
And then the maintenance, like obviously rubbers and cleaning, that's easy, and anybody can be taught that. But do you have engineers that come in, or do you have local repair?
That is probably and it wasn't highlighted enough on here. Keeping the games running is the biggest challenge.
Scariest part.
Yes. You have to. We're fortunate that all the board members do repairs, and of the 14 volunteers, only about 3 of them can really get in there and do repairs and stuff right now. The other ones want to learn, we just got to get time to them. So, yes, our one philosophy we stand by is when a game goes down, if it's not a quick fix, if we can't fix it tomorrow or whatever, and we pull it off the floor and put a game that's working. It pains me when I walk into locations and they've got 13 games off. I don't want to see them all. I want them all up. I want our members to come in and see games up. And if it's down, it's just because we're going to fix it tomorrow. But other than that, slide it in the back, slide another one out. Because we have plenty of space that we can do that, for. But yeah, it's a challenge. Some days, we go weeks with no repairs, and then other times it's every day, 4 games went down, and it's what are we going to do? We haven't really gotten to a position where there's not really anyone we can really bring in from the outside. So it's you got to have curated inside to keep the games that people are going to help. And the volunteers don't get anything for it. They're just there to help the collective. They come in, they want to play pinball for a couple hours, and they take an hour and fix games, and we love them for that. Question?
All right, we'll follow up. On the maintenance, do you have a way for the playing members to generate work orders? There's a switch in the back that you're never going to notice just walking up to the game.
So that's the Trello software. Right now, you just when you're there, you tell the volunteer that's on duty or whatever, and they put it in the system. We are actually just working on getting a QR interface that will send it directly to Trello. But we need the computer geniuses to link all that together. But hopefully the goal is there's going to be a couple QR codes around. That way they don't have to find the volunteer, scan it, type in what it is, and it'll automatically send it to Trello, which we then get alerts that we get a notification anytime something's changed in Trello.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll be right to you.
So you mentioned that everybody has full-time jobs. There are no employees per se. Do you think there would be any benefit to having a paid employee, somebody whose full-time job it is to operate this to a certain extent, or is it going perfectly well as a?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't. There's no issues we really run into. I think we're good. We have people want to help. The camaraderie that everyone's there. When we get everybody together twice a year, we throw parties for our members. July 4th is coming up. We'll have about 100 plus of them there. We do a cookout. We supply all the food, drinks for them. We do a fireworks show, a real one. That's about 20 minutes long. We do it again at New Year's. And just all the people that come together are always what can I do? What can I do? It's just and you all are in the pinball hobby. It is I've been in a ton of hobbies. This one has the least amount of cancerous people in it. The least amount of toxicity. I've been in plenty of others where it's very toxic, and again, none of them are perfect. You're always going to have people here or there, but it is so welcoming. Everyone is so good to each other and just trying to help the collective. But no, I don't see us needing to get to a spot to pay. And ultimately, until we get to the point where we're way in the green, we can't even really afford to pay someone. So.
I just had a question about the Trello that I wanted to ask, and you kind of touched on it. So you're not requiring your members, they don't download the app themselves, you just have several people that have access to the Trello, and that's how they're logging their problems.
Correct. Yep, so our question was about the Trello. Do all the members have it on their phone? They don't. So they just report it to a volunteer. We have our main computer up front that has it running, or they have it on their phone and they can just put it in right there. But that's why we're going to work towards try to implement the QR code to scan it. The member can type in something in this little fake web page that will automatically upload it to Trello. Again, so they don't have to track down the volunteer that's working that day and get it relayed over. We'll go to the one in red first behind you.
How do you deal with hours? like you say, most people have regular jobs and whatever, but you set your hours from 12 till 6. But if people have regular jobs, they're probably going to want to be there from 6 till midnight.
That's Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 6. It's only Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 6. So Tuesday night we're 6 to 10, Thursday night 6 to 10, Friday night 6 to 10. Saturday and Sunday's 12 to 6. So yes, when it first opened in 2022, I used to get off work at 5 o'clock and go straight there and work from 6 to 10. And then I did every other Saturday. Now that, again, when we first opened, the first 7 months, it was only the 5 of us. Then we brought on volunteers to open up Friday nights. Then we brought on more volunteers to help cut back on some of the Saturdays and Sundays so we didn't have to alternate because, again, we knew what we were getting into, but we needed to suppress it some. So that's why we have the volunteers to help us down. Now I'm down to 1 Saturday a month, but I'm there for leagues and tournaments and there, so I'm constantly, up there.
And nobody's in there aside from those hours, except for like board members or whatever?
So that's a good question. No one's there. The key cards control who can get in, obviously. One perk to the volunteers get a master card that gets them in the building whenever they want. So if they want to go at 2 a.m. tonight and open it up and go play, they can. They do it under the premise that's not like, hey, I want to bring 20 friends here for a little party. No one's ever done that. We get notifications. Again, everything is logged. So we're, there's not like anyone's doing any funny business there. But that is one thing that the volunteers do. So sometimes they'll reach out to a couple of people and say, hey, you want to go play some pinball for a few hours Monday morning? They can open up the doors and go play some pinball quietly, and when they're done, they leave.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
On one topic you were just describing, if you're having a volunteer to be a receptionist at the door, then why do the non-volunteers need any key card?
So they're not a receptionist at the door. So
I just use that
yeah,
term to mean.
they're nothing. So if I'm working tonight,
Yeah.
I open the main door downstairs is the one no one can get in. I prop that door open. When they come upstairs, that's key carded. I'm in the back doing repairs. I'm downstairs. I'm playing pinball. And the people just come in and go. I don't care who comes through the door.
There, but you're not really
Correct.
monitoring.
I'm not doing anything. They don't have to sit anywhere. They
So
can.
that's why the card system, so that it can log.
Correct. It's 2 reasons. 1, logging, and 2, the first 2 years actually, we had it open. We had the key cards, but we didn't keep the door locked. And then it just started to get to the point where we had so many members now, and the board members and stuff were working less time. We didn't know who was who walking in the door. So this guy is like, okay, are you a member? He's like, yeah, I'm a member. My name, it's like, okay, first time I've met you. I've been a member for 4 months, So it's like, all right, guys, we sent out like 5 months ahead of time, like January 1st, 23, we're going key card. Kept warning everybody. It's going to stay locked all the time. You go to the bathroom, it's going to stay locked because our bathrooms are outside of the club. But yeah, it's no issues with it. Everybody, it's been so much easier and nicer now with the door locked because I know now the only people that are getting in is someone has a key card.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yep.
You mentioned that a couple of times a year you auction off machines, but you've also said the collective doesn't own any machines. So how is that happening?
So yeah, we don't own any, so we do have funds in our bank account. So we buy them and we buy a brand new machine from our distributor.
For the raffle. Okay.
They deliver it, we don't unbox it, it stays in the box, and then we do the raffles.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't, there's not a single machine in there. Like if the collective was to close tonight, forever, there's nothing the collective owns. Everything is owned by a member. Come get your game and go on your way.
Second to last question.
Yep.
In thinking about possibly becoming a 501c3 instead of a 501c7, have you looked at whether under 501c3 status, people who are quote unquote donating their games could take tax deductions for like the rental?
They can, yes. So good point. I meant to say that. So if we happen to switch over to the 501c3, and now we're a charitable donation. All of our members now can write off 75% of their membership for tax purposes. Okay? So that, again, a little
And
perk.
like the value of the machines that are loaned to the collective, like on a rental value, could you call that?
Maybe, above my pay grade. I just bring the magic together. I'll leave that to the other people. Did you have a question in the back? No?
Well, the last question then,
Yeah.
if he doesn't have a question, is, it sounded to me like one of the critical reasons why this has been such a big success for you, other than the incredible volunteer community that you all have, is what you said up front about there not being any public places where people can play. Like here in Atlanta, we have, you know, the fantastic situation of having 6 or more public pinball arcades, places where you can go play on public locations. So I get the sense that maybe we wouldn't be able to pull off a version of this because people wouldn't feel compelled, you know, to do it.
I got 2 stories for you. One, so the only reason I came up with this, why do this seminar, is in the 4 years we've been open, I've probably talked to a dozen people across the United States that have reached out to me. Hey, what should I be aware of? What can you tell me? I've got some questions for you. And so when I talked to the organizers here, I was like, I guess I can do one if people are interested in it. And I've seen several of those people open up collectives since then. One was in New York, not the Rochester Pinball Collective, but it was a group of guys in Buffalo. They reached out to me last year. They talked. Their situation was there is places to play pinball, but they wanted a space about this size, small, secluded, and they wanted it limited to like 48 people. And everyone gets a MasterCard. They can go anytime they want. It's self-ran. They don't sell sodas there, nothing. It's just like everyone is pitched in like whatever it is. They got the office space for cheap because one of the members has something to do with the building. So I don't know what the cost was. Let's just say it's $1,000 a month. All the members are paying like $25 a month, covers the $1,000, that covers the electric and all that. And then they all just took 3 or 4 games from their home and put them in a spot. And that's where they go play, and then they hold their leagues there and their tournaments there to get them out of their homes or whatever. Yes, they could drive 20 or 30 minutes this way, that way, and go to location pinball, but they all wanted something sent to them in their area. I just talked to yesterday, there's a group in North Carolina that had the same situation as us, 3 houses. To put it in perspective, our 3 houses were, we were in the middle. One house was 40 minutes north, the other house was 20 minutes south. So we were within about an hour loop. North Carolina's a little bit smaller, like within a 40-minute loop, but it's 3 houses. All of them have like 20-some pinball machines, and they rotate holding events and things like that. But they're kind of on the verge of so many people are coming, things like that they're looking for something that they can just put together and bring those people together that are constantly visiting those 3 homes to get it out of their home. Listen, we did it for 3 years out of our house, and we still hold tournaments at our house. We didn't have any problems at our house. So we didn't get out of it because our walls were getting busted or, the stuff like that. It was just 48 people in the basement and 40 cars parked down the driveway and the neighbors. It was just, we needed more. That's all, so. But yeah, I talked to the guys that opened up the Austin Pinball Collective. I talked to them last year. They just went live in May. They got a crazy space. They're like in downtown Austin on I feel like 6th, 7th floor of a office building or something overlooking the city. I talked to the Buffalo guys. I've talked to one in Michigan, one in Ohio, Colorado. I think someone like up in Vermont or something. And someone in Arizona. But yeah, the more pinball that we can put out there, the better. That's the whole thing. I'm just the ambassador to put pinball out there for people to have access to. We still do on Wednesday nights at our house. We still have 36 people coming every Wednesday night for our local league. It's not even IFPA sanctioned. I don't know if any of you all play tournaments. It's just fun weekly league that we have every week, 36 people. And we've been doing that for 4 years. Of the people that come, and it sells out, so they have to go online and register. But the email list has 104 people on it for our local Wednesday night. Again, those people live an hour to hour 20 minutes away from the collective, so we only have a handful of those that are members up there. The other ones just are too far away for them. But since we started it, we have 19 people now have pinball machines because of us. They never owned a pinball machine until they started playing our Wednesday nights, and now they have 19 people have it, and some of those people now have 3, 4, 5 machines. That's just our Wednesday night out of our house. I can't tell you how many people at the collective that are members that now have bought machines because they've come there and enjoy it, and they want a machine at home or they want 2 machines at home. So we've littered Delaware now and the surrounding areas with pinball machines over the past 4 years, tremendously.
Okay. So how have you handled members? How have you just relied on word of mouth to grow and start everything, or are you using other forms to grow?
So good question again. How do we handle members and gain memberships and things like that? 99% of it is the social media, word of mouth, and then obviously pinball is such a niche hobby and sport and things like that. Most people are aware of the app called Pinball Map, where they look on if they have Stern Insider location or if they go to the Pinside website and look. That's how they find pinball. So most of the people are like, I want to play pinball in Delaware, and then we come up, and that's where you go. But outside of that, when we first opened, our first 3 years, we did 4 open houses every quarter. Again, just broadcasting on social media. Hey, we're doing an open house. We're going to have pizza there and hot dogs. Come on out, and we gained some memberships from there. Not a lot. Most of it it's a friend telling a friend, or they bring someone in, or they get a co-worker that comes in, and that co-worker tells someone. But that's how most of it is. And then the people that come for the tournaments that are traveling, that play, that are an hour away, and they're like, I had nowhere else to go, so I'm going to be a member so I can come here and play, pinball. We're also home to the #1 player in the world, Jason Zoller. That's where he hones his craft besides his house.
You mentioned the insurance for case damage to the machines. And do you also have, and what's the cost of insurance for if someone gets hurt on the premises, if there's an injury?
Yes.
And to protect the board members from being brought into that kind of a thing?
Yep, so that's our part of the LLC that we have and all that. We're protected from that, so we don't have anything. Again, the question was if someone gets hurt, they're injured. So we're all covered on that aspect, yes. 4 years, we haven't had any issues. Even with steps, we haven't had anybody fall, thankfully. There is no, so it is second floor, we don't have an elevator. You got to bring all these games up the steps. So.
Is that part of the $2,000 cost you said for the insurance, or is that separate?
That $2,000 insurance is just covering the games to protect them, yeah. The specialty insurance.
So you mentioned size. You're kind of running up against the limits of your size in terms of how many games you can have, and maybe in terms of how many members you can have. Is there a limit? Would you ever consider capping membership if it ever came to that, or would you just try to find a bigger space? Because you mentioned it was kind of difficult finding a space in the first place that kind of met your needs. So what's your in terms of growth in the future? What are your thoughts on that?
So yeah, if you didn't hear him, he's asking the growth. What's next? Because we're kind of maxed out on the machines, and do we have a cap on our memberships? So since day one, since we opened, we've always advertised limited memberships available. We didn't know what that number was. We're getting close to that number finally 4 years later. Again, the key ingredient was enough memberships to cover the fixed costs. And when we were at 100 to 110 memberships, we weren't quite there without, when we host tournaments or do the raffles and bring in an extra 3 or 4 or 5 grand, again, remember, it's $5,000 a month for us just for the operating expenses for the lease and the utilities. So we're close to that number, to where we're going to get to where we may be able to finally say, hey, we have 11 memberships left, and then there's going to be a waiting list. As far as I don't see us going anywhere. I didn't think, obviously, 5 years ago that we would be to a point now, like we obviously left the homes because we were turning people away. I didn't know we'd be at this point now. We end up having a waiting list to get in. But we're on the second floor. It took a lot of effort and time to put all this stuff in place. The only way, like, if we would, go to another spot, it would have to be like a member that's like, hey, I own real estate here, and here's a building that you can have for $1,500 or whatever, and it's got to be the sweetest deal ever, because it's a ton of work to like now tear all that out and go remove it all to somewhere else, even if it wasn't even on the second floor, just to do all that and reset up. I can't see us doing it. I think, we've got this nice little upper on the second floor. It's secluded, it's in this industrial park. We have tons of parking, as you saw on the first slide, because all the places back there are like Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4, so we never overlap with anyone. It's just wide open parking. So yeah, we're gonna probably get to that point where we're gonna have to put a limit on the memberships. But as I mentioned, we have 142 active memberships, total people, because again, with the families all there, there's probably 300 people total that consist of the memberships. I work one Saturday a month. When I'm there 12 to 6, I may see 15, 16 members come through. There's never a day that's not a tournament or not league night that like I'm working it on a Saturday or a Sunday and there's 60, 70, 80 members in there and like all the games are full. It's never ever. I don't know, people just pop in from time to time. They pop in an hour on Friday, they pop in an hour on Saturday and they leave. So it's never crowded, never crowded in there. One thing to rewind, as we do host the leagues and we host the tournaments, our number one thing that we stand by is our members always come first, okay? Even when we hold our tournaments in our leagues that consist of members. So for example, if we have a tournament today, most of the tournament's open to anyone, doesn't have to be a member. The members get a big discounted price on it. But on those memberships, when they come into the tournament, even though they're a member playing, now you're not in the tournament and you come in to enjoy your day and you're playing the new King Kong. Now the tournament starts. For round one, your group, you're on King Kong. Nope, someone's on there. It's a member. They take precedent. We let everyone know at the announcements at the beginning of the tournament, do not bother our members. Don't ask them if it's their last game. Don't ask them if it's their last ball. Don't ask them anything. If you see someone in your game, simply go back up to the tournament director and they'll move you to a different game. But do not bump your members off a game and make your tournament take precedent over top of your paying memberships, is my suggestion. Okay? They're paying the bills. While the tournament's helping generate revenue, those are the ones that you need to worry about.
What are you charging for tournaments?
So we do some weekly Stern Army tournaments are generally $5 for members, and then non-members pay $30. They're paying the $5, but since they're a non-member, they pay a $25 fee to get in. When we hold our monthly tournaments, our bigger monthly tournaments, they're usually like once every 6-7 weeks. We charge $20 for members and $50 or $55 for non-members. We get a little bit more for the bigger tournaments that come in. But when we have those big tournaments, we have like 60 to 70 people. It's 50 members and 15 non-members. But 2022, it was 30 members and 40 non-members. And now it's swung to where it's now like 80% members and 20% non-members.
Are you giving out cash prizes, or is that all?
Yeah.
for the collective?
No, everything's, we don't, all we're making is off of the non-members. So we don't make anything off of the members. They're already paying their membership dues. So they're just, $4 is going to the prize fund. Now the bigger tournaments, $19 goes to the prize fund of everybody. And we just take the non-members fees, go straight to the collective.
And I did want to ask you about your logo. Did you invest in a graphic designer, or are you using your members also to design your merch?
So when the logo itself was created, we had some people, you're on camera, Matt and Beck Guzzler, they have a company called Rage Tilt Pinball. We were friends with them, so we got them to design the initial logo, and they were just kind enough to do it, and that was it. So we now do have some other members now that have also, Mary Ann has there's a new group for the ladies that we started called the Bumper Babes. One of the members designed the shirts, the logos, and all for that. Yeah, so it's we have so much help and support from the members. Like, you just have to ask them, and whatever you need, like, they'll step up. But if you don't ask them, most of them aren't going to come to you and say, because they don't know what you want or need, but they're there to help. You came in late. Are you here? You got questions? Are you? Oh, okay. Sorry. Anything else?
How do you keep score on the tournaments? How does that work?
So for the tournaments that we run, we use the software called MatchPlay. Matchplay.events is the website. It has a yearly subscription fee of like $40 a year or something. But if you're going to hold tournaments, it's absolutely, you got to have it. And the $40 a year is not a dent in the pocket at all.
And then the machines just feed into that?
You load up in there what machines you want, you load the people in there, and then it's got all kinds of different formats that you can do. So whether you want to do a strikes knockout tournament, or you want to do a match play tournament, or you want to do head-to-head, you can all drop down menus, pick it, and then it'll run the tournament for you. And it's very easy to use. But yeah, so in our tournaments, again, we bring in, it's helped us gain memberships. And one of the biggest reasons is when the people come there, they're playing quality games. They know that they're coming, and they're not going to be playing games that have weak flippers, or this isn't working, or that's not working. So that's a big draw. That why we get so many, why we're a popular, hotbed for competitive pinball. Our leagues. To rewind, as I said, we had so many members join that weren't into competitive pinball. Our first league in 2022 at the Collective had I think 22 members on a Tuesday night. We're up to 45 to 50 on Tuesday nights now. And now we have a league on Thursday nights that's classics only, and we're up to 30 members that come in on Thursday nights for the classics only league. And they want more, but we don't have enough people yet to run more. If we could open Wednesday night, there would be people there playing Wednesday night. But we got to get more volunteers first.
So this is a dumb question, but what's the difference between league play and tournament play?
So league play is just like if you've done a bowling league or a dart league or a pool league or anything, generally the league is like 8 weeks long. You come week one, you pay $5, that goes towards the league. All the league money goes back to the players. None of it comes to the collective. But you play week one with 4 people. You come back week 2 and play with 4 more, or three other people. You do it 8 times, and then you drop your 2 worst scores, your 2 worst weeks, and then so your totals are based off your 6 best weeks. And then you come back week 9 for your playoffs. It's just an extended tournament, basically.
So these foursomes organize themselves, 4 buddies will come?
The software does.
Oh.
Yep, the software does it all for you.
Yeah, or we just all throw poker chips into a bag and just whoever draws, that's who you're playing with.
You could do that as well. Yep, well, actually, when we first started out, that's how we did it. Anything else? Who's going to be the first one to open up a collective? Her. All right, did you all get my info? If you want any time, email me or text me. If you got any questions throughout, if you all do go down this road, whether it's 6 months from now or whatever, I'm happy to help. I'm here. And again, anybody wants a copy of the slideshow, just ask me, and I'll send that over to you all. So I guess without any more, thank you all for coming out. Enjoy the rest of the show.